Let me start by thanking you very much for joining us, making time in your schedule this afternoon to join us here for this celebration. I'm Rick Collier. I have the pleasure and privilege to serve as the board chair for the Piszek Valley Watershed Association. I also am going to be the MC for this short program this afternoon. So a very hearty welcome to everyone, and again, thank you for coming out on this spectacular day. We're going to have several people who are going to make some comments. I'm going to start here in a few minutes. But a few acknowledgments of some special guests that are here today. I saw Kate Harper, Representative Kate Harper just walked in. Welcome, Kate. Steve McCarter, who is our local district legislative district representative, is here. Welcome, Steve. Also, we have some members from the NLT, Natural Lands Trust, and the Montgomery County Lands Trust, Dulcie Flaherty and Jake Lee, who are in the audience. Now that I have the sun in my eyes, I'm not going to be able to see anybody. So welcome to the podium. Also, thank you, commissioners from Springfield, Commissioner Gillies, Daly, and Standish for coming. Commissioner Meinhardt from Upper Dublin and Township Manager Paul Leonard are here. And certainly I've missed people, although several are going to be speaking this afternoon. I'm very, very pleased to welcome you to this celebration of the Piszek Preserve. Please remember that this was a multi-organizational effort. It included both townships, it included the county, Montgomery County, it included Montgomery County Lands Trust, the Piszek Valley Watershed Association, and many more, including the developer and certainly the Piszek family. I probably left out a few who were involved, and it took many, many years for this to actually come to pass. A couple of false starts. It took a long time. Soon we will have signs out on Pennsylvania Avenue identifying this as a fabulous accomplishment of preserving approximately 37 acres that are behind me, that are along the Sandy Run, which will never be developed, will remain an open space, and will be open to the public. The Piszek Valley Watershed Association will be the stewards of that property and has already begun to cut some very informal soft trails that will be available for the public to use, and hopefully in the future we'll connect up to other trails to be part of our system. We do, as I mentioned, have several speakers this evening. We're going to have Jake Lee from NLT, Josh Shapiro, who's going to speak, at least one and maybe two members from Springfield, John Meinhardt, and then Helen Nelson and Dennis is going to, Miranda, who is our executive director, is going to complete that. There's no denial that we learned from history and our forefathers and our foremothers. We all come to appreciate open spaces for many reasons. Some because of Earth Day back in the early 70s. Some because they loved being outdoors as a kid and not locked inside with a computer and computer games and a plug to put the activity into. Some because they went to fabulous vacation spots that were open and they were unspoiled places. But for whatever reason that you became interested and loved open space, we have all learned from that experience. As to legacy, I particularly like the following quote, if you will indulge me for just half a minute, from Teddy Roosevelt, made in 1903. "We have gotten past the stage, my fellow citizens, when we are to be pardoned if we treat any part of our country as something to be skinned for 2 or 3 years for the use of the present generation. Whether it is forest, the water, the scenery, whatever it is, handle it so your children's children will get the benefit of it." And I think that attitude exists with all of the parties that have put this together and made it a success and who will be responsible for its future maintenance. So we have many thanks, and especially to the Piszek family, and Helen Nelson is here representing the family today, and she's going to make a few remarks. But their foresight, their attitude towards preserving a portion of this land is what really drove this process and made it a success. So we're here to celebrate, we're here to acknowledge this commitment, and perhaps inspire others for such actions in the future. So with those few brief remarks, let's move on for a few remarks. Let's start with Jake Lee from Natural Lands Trust. He was at Montgomery County Lands Trust and was the real workhorse behind putting this together. Jake?
This microphone up a little bit. I just want to say, when I first got started involved in this organization, I met with Helen and Bill Piszek, and they were looking for a way to preserve the whole property. Unfortunately, at the time, the funding was not there to do that. So we put together a scenario where we would preserve most of the Sandy Run, all the property along the Sandy Run, and then have a conservation development in the rest of it. They were very receptive to the idea, but I have to tell you that we expected to be involved with them for about 3 years, but this project took more twists and turns than South Street pretzel. So we stuck with it, and I have to give the Piszeks all the credit in the world. The townships, the county, and everybody was very cooperative, but the Piszeks were the ones that drove this. They constantly kept in touch with me. They kept me informed. They're always honest with me. They were honest with me about their feelings, about how they viewed the project, who they liked, who they didn't like. So it was quite an adventure. But at the end of it, they were the ones that made the donation of this property, and I can't give them enough credit because through it all, they had grants that were taken away from them. They had conservation developments that were flopped right at the closing table. So all through it, they stuck through it with their vision of keeping a good part of this property in in its natural state. So I want to commend them for that, and I appreciate all that.
Jake also mentioned the county, and the county's role was extraordinary in this. Members of the Planning Commission, including Beth Pilling, who is here today, stuck through this, and of course our county commissioners were instrumental in making this happen. So we're going to hear a few words now from our County Commissioner, Josh Shapiro. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you to Rick, and of course your organization, Jake's organization, and all of those present here today, to Springfield Township and Upper Dublin Township for coming together and helping see this project through. I'd be remiss if I didn't also recognize the Vice Chair of our Planning Commission, Dulcie Flaherty, who is here, who pushed and kept making sure that we understood the importance of this. And I certainly did. I grew up 4 or 5 minutes from here. I live about 10 minutes down the road, and I drive past this Piszek property each day. I know how important it was. And my colleagues Leslie Richards and Bruce Castor know how important it was to ensure that we could protect some of this land from development and preserve it so that people could walk along the trails that are going to be put in. It's actually in addition to the 10 miles of trails that we're increasing here in Montgomery County, given our commitment to trail expansion and open space preservation. But through it all, Montgomery County, Springfield Township, Upper Dublin Township, the organizations, this would not have happened without the generosity of the Piszek family. This would not have happened without them. They stepped up and they put their money where their mouth was, and they put their time and dedication into ensuring that not just us, but future generations in this community will have the pleasure of being able to walk on these beautiful grounds and have the pleasure of knowing that it is free from development. So on behalf of the people of Montgomery County, on behalf of my colleagues, Leslie Richards, Bruce Castor, we can't say enough thank yous to the Piszek family for stepping up the way they did. Helen, to you, to the entire Piszek family for doing what they did to ensure that this will be here for future generations. Thank you all very much.
So it takes every level of government, and the townships were instrumental in this as well. So now I'd like to hear from Springfield Township. I think President of the Commissioners, Mr. Daly, is going to be either our speaker or our first speaker. Welcome.
That's the problem when you sit on a board with 5 foreigners as presidents of the Board of Commissioners. Just to echo some of the words that were said, preparing some remarks today, I was looking through, because I have nothing else to do, through all the minutes over the last 12 years of the early stages of this project and development. And
going through, it didn't seem like there was a lot of on township end, a lot of disagreements or whatnot. The process went pretty fluid. Rick and I were just had a development issue a few weeks ago, and it was sad. It was where two groups could not get together, and the sad part is a lot of times they have common goals and objectives, and they don't even know it. They're just too busy at loggerheads to realize it. But then looking at this project, you see that that didn't really happen. The other day, I contacted our township manager, and I asked for his perspective on it. Don Berger, I don't believe Don's here today, but Don put it into one word: cooperation. The preservation of this open space is a prime example of how far cooperation can take communities to achieve their desired goals. Cooperation among the residents within the immediate neighborhood to appreciate the needs of the developer in order to make it possible to preserve the open space. Cooperation and regular communication between Springfield Township and Upper Dublin Townships to legislate the laws necessary to preserve the open space. Cooperation between the Montgomery County and Montgomery County Lands Trust, the Wissahickon Valley Watershed Association, and the two townships to acquire, preserve, provide for the future maintenance of the open space. And finally, it was the cooperation, the interest, the patience, and the dedication of the Piszek family to honor the legacy of their family with the preservation of this land and for the entire community. Thank you.
Mr. Meinhardt, thank you for coming. He is Commissioner in Upper Dublin Township, and he'd like to make a few additional remarks. Welcome.
Good afternoon. What a great day. This is my first time out on the property. I'm very proud to represent the Board of Commissioners from Upper Dublin Township in the collaboration of the two townships between us and Springfield Township and all of the hard work that went into it. I didn't have a prepared statement, but I wanted to say to be able to be out on this beautiful property and enjoy this. I am a fisherman. I have fished along the Sandy Run and fished along the Wissahickon. I'm very proud of the watershed and all the work they do to try to keep it clean so that the fish are out there. And to be on this property is just spectacular. On this great day to see all this beautiful home. I mean, it just to take it in, it's pretty magical. And I guess my quote that I wanted to share, you also had a Teddy Roosevelt quote. I have a very brief one, and that is, do what you can with what you have where you are. And that's what I'm doing right now, is do the best I can as a representative from the Board of Commissioners, just to say we are so proud to be able to be a part of this. Thank you.
Well, I've been looking forward to this. Helen, it's your opportunity to represent your family. We're all extremely proud of you and what you've done, and we're very happy to have you here. And just like me, I'll lower this for you.
Little mouth, but a lot comes out of it. There's so many things that I could say. But the fact that Mr. Meinhardt talked about how beautiful and pristine everything was, I think Ed Piszek was a man ahead of his time. He bought this property back in 1956. And he could see at that point in time people were kind of throwing stuff in the water because it was easy to throw it in the sandy run and let it just go. And then we get it back up down here at the waterfall. So what he did, he had one of our workmen here on the grounds put a screen across the creek. We would pull tons, stuff you could not believe, out of that creek. And we did that till we left here. The other thing he did too was he had somebody go along Pennsylvania Avenue every day cleaning up all the trash. Because I got a phone call not too long after I left saying, there's a lot of trash on Penn. I'm like, I don't have my little guy doing that anymore. Somebody else is going to have to do that. But it's kind of a shame, isn't it? But let's get to what we're really here for, and that's for the preservation of the land. I lived here 50 years of my life. I loved every minute of it. And I am so happy that we can share some of it with you and that it is preserved. I know that Mother and Dad would be so happy to see that. As I said, when Dad bought the property, he bought it mainly because it reminded him of his childhood home up in Quakertown. Not the big house, but the grounds, the creek, the things like it, just the lay of the land. And I admire him for he kept this place going for over 50 years, pristine and beautiful for everybody to enjoy. So I hope that continues, and I hope you all enjoy what the Wissahickon Valley Watershed is going to do. They've been terrific to work with. Jake was great to work with. It was a tough 8 or 9 years, but we got through it. A little threadbare, but we got through it. So again, please, I hope you'll enjoy the beautiful view and the land. Thank you.
Okay, we're just about finished. We have a few closing remarks from Dennis Miranda. He is our Executive Director of the Wissahickon Valley Watershed Association. I would invite you to stay afterwards. A number of our staff are here from the watershed. Bob Adams and John. A number of other people are here to help tour you around and allow you to explore a little bit. This is a golden opportunity because when the preserve is open, you'll be able to walk around the woods over here, but probably not in this area. So, Dennis?
Good evening, everyone. This is a great legacy for the community. The Piszek Preserve is our newest property in our suburban wilderness chain. So if you really stand and listen carefully, you'll hear the twittering chimney swish over your head, catch the fragrance of the Norway spruce here, perhaps discover the gurgling sound of a sandy run further away, or see the giant sycamores that have been here for hundreds of years. All those things belong to the community. It belongs to all of you. And while buildings come and go, preserved open space is here forever. So whether you enjoy this now, or your kids enjoy it with their next generation, this lasts forever. So it is the effort, the success, the vision of all those that made this happen, and for the community to enjoy, it belongs to all of us. And that is a daily celebration. So when we're all gone, you have that quiet Saturday morning or Sunday evening, you want to take a stroll, catch a bit of nature, this place belongs to you. So enjoy it, celebrate it every day. Thank you very much.
Well, that concludes our program. We promised it would be short. I think we stuck to that. Carol reminded me that we have cake, we have lots of snacks, we have things to drink over here. Please come over and enjoy it. Stay on the property for a while and come back often, at least on the other side. By the way, we're working out parking arrangements, so there will be an opportunity to park in the near future and be able to walk into the preserve. That doesn't exist right now, but it will very soon, and that'll provide free access to this space. So thank you all again for coming, and enjoy the rest of your visit.